As elections are quickly approaching, we continue to talk to candidates. Today joining me is School Board District 1 candidate Bobby Highsmith. Bobby, thank you so much for coming to join us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Bobby, this is your first time running for Monroe District 1 School Board. You are an attorney. Why have you decided to run for school board?
That's a great question. I was born and raised here in the Keys. My parents were career educators in our Monroe County school system. They started out as teachers and got into school administration. My mom ended up as a elementary school principal. My dad finished as an assistant superintendent. And so education, public education in particular, has always been extremely important to me and my family. I feel very fortunate to have been raised here and have gone to school here. Graduated from Key West High, went to Duke on a football scholarship, then went to the University of Florida for law school. And through my college and law school careers, I felt that I had an excellent base to compete with those other students. And that base came from the education I received here in Monroe County. The reason I'm running is because I want to see that base continue. I have two children currently enrolled in the school system, a son that's going into fourth grade and a daughter, God help me, is going to be starting high school in August as a freshman. And they're the most important people in my lives. I want them to have the very best education possible. And I want all of the kids in Monroe County to have the best education possible. So I think it's too important of a position not to get involved, and so that's why I decided to take a stab at it.
Specifically, what kind of things, Bobby, are you thinking about changing if you are elected to school board?
My campaign platform that I've developed is really based on three planks: high morale, high stakes, high standards. And I think the place that we need to start first is with morale. The district has had some tough times these past few years and has come through some pretty challenging issues, but I think that the teachers, the staff, the volunteers that continue to go in our schools have continued to work very, very hard and do a very, very good job for our students. The problem is that the perception in the public still has a tarnish, I think, on our district. And so I want to work to improve the morale from within, and I want to improve the public perception from the outside. And I think if we can get those two things going, that's going to enable us to best achieve our very best. And so I'm looking forward to leading that charge and bringing up morale in the district and without of the district. High stakes. Public education is just too important not to do it the very best that we possibly can. Before our interview, you guys mentioned the baby boom generation, and they're getting into their retirement, and the demographics of our country and really worldwide are changing so much that in order for us as a community, us as a state, us as a country to continue to be successful and compete, we need to make sure that all of our students are educated to the very highest degree possible. So there's a lot on the line. We can't afford to have the dropout rate that we have. We can't afford to have insufficient vocational and trade school education. We need to make sure that every kid that comes through the Monroe County School District is receiving a top-notch education, whether they're off to college or straight off to work out of high school. And so the stakes are too high for us as a society not to have the very best education. The final plank is high standards. I don't think anyone can question or argue with the need to have the very best school system possible. And I think that if you get the high morale going and people understanding the high stakes, then not only will the folks within the district be willing to put forth their very best and continue to do that, but we can get the community at large to buy in to our system as well, so that everyone will realize how important it is and everyone will strive for excellence.
What do you think it is that separates you from your opponents?
I think the main difference between my opponents and I is the fact that I was born and raised here in the Florida Keys. I am a product of the school system, and growing up in a house with two educators made for a somewhat interesting upbringing. Education was obviously very, very important to us, and so it's almost a family tradition for me. I don't have any agenda, any objective, any axe to grind. My sole purpose in running for the school system and the sole thing that I'm going to do if elected is to do the very best job that I possibly can to make sure that we have the very best school district possible.
Bobby, how has it been thus far running?
It's been a whirlwind. I had several folks warn me that, are you sure you realize what you're getting into? And so I said, sure, I can handle that, but it really has been amazing, the time that's involved. There's just so much to do, not enough hours in the day. So working as hard as I can, doing the best I can, understanding that I'm not going to be able to do it all, but I am trying to reach out and meet as many people as I can up and down the Keys. The response that I've received so far has really been humbling and overwhelming, from folks that I grew up with, from folks that I know through my law practice, from folks that I've never met personally before, the phone calls that I'm getting unsolicited. So even though it's tiring, even though it's grueling, it's very rewarding, and meeting a lot of new people, reconnecting with a lot of old friends, but I think the support that I'm getting so far has been very encouraging.
That's great. So from here on out, what is your game plan until election time?
Game plan, it's the typical Florida Keys campaign. You have to get up and down the Keys. You have to shake as many hands, attend as many Rotary meetings, as many chamber meetings as you possibly can, really to just try to meet folks. And it's tough. I'm based primarily down here in the lower Keys, and so spending more and more time in the upper Keys to get to know the folks up there better. I have a lot of good friends there, but I'm always looking for more. So we're going to do our very best to hit these community events, hit this calendar. We're a little late getting started in the race, and so we have a little catching up to do, but our media campaign is going to be rolling forth pretty soon with the signs and the banners and that sort of thing. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a neat campaign. It's going to be a good, clean campaign. I have respect for both of my opponents, and I think all of us have ultimately the best interest of the district at heart, even though we may have different ideas on how best to get there.
That's great, Bobby. Thank you again so much for joining us,
Oh,
and
it's my pleasure.
I wish you the best of luck.